It is now time for us to bring seed into our King. So as we prepare to do so, we have a selection coming to us by our musicians as we prepare to bring seed unto our King. As we give thanks, Torah for your provision, for us for being our provision. Abba, we magnify you because all the root comes from you. Abba, you said if we're willing and obedient that we shall be protected by you. It is now time for us to go into the word, into the Torah. And as we prepare to do so, prepare your hearts and your minds and your heart for peace, because truly, and you're here for a purpose, you're not here by accident. And so, yes, that you stick and stay. I know the singing was wonderful, it was great, and if you enjoyed the praise and the worship, now this is the most important part. This is the part that keeps us working. We can praise, we can worship. A lot of people like to say, send up Judah. That's one. But it takes His word to keep us. So at this time, we prepare to receive a true word. It gives me a tremendous esteem to bring to your forefront one who is an esteemed and phenomenal speaker. One who truly takes the time to seek the hour for what is needed for our people. Because in the time that we live in now, anybody can just sit up and throw a scripture, can throw a verse and throw something for the writings. It don't matter the safe, it don't matter wherever they get it from. But to really get a word, a right now present word from God, it takes something special. It takes a true seek from the thing that brings the
Let's praise Him. Let's worship Him. Let's worship Him. And give Him. Come on. He's worthy. Come on, he's worthy, he's worthy. Come on, in your mouth. Come on. Oh, y'all wonderful. Come on, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Name. Come on, he's been wonderful. Come on, all my life, he's been wonderful. Even when I didn't know anything about truth, he's been wonderful. Wonderful is his name. Wonderful is his name. Wonderful is his name. Wonderful is his name. Mighty God. I'm making through this journey. Your hand is there, oh, no, no, and no, when you on my side, oh, when you on my side, have no victory, wonderful is your name, wonderful, from making through the journey, making through the journey, and no, no, and no, no, when you on my side, oh, when you on me, have no victory. Come on, if you believe that thing, God has given you praise. Come on, if you believe that this God has given you praise. Come on, I believe He has the power to make you out. I believe that we are in a place, yes, we're in trying times, but you must understand that in these times that we're in, He's just increasing our release. He is just stretching us in our release. It's a time to believe Him like never before. It's a time that we find ourselves truly forgiving and moving forward in this season. I sing this song every when we're going through this. Remember, He's wonderful, so that we will truly be the people of the book and be all that He's called us to be in this hour and this season. And it is so. Come on, put your hands together and praise Him. Come on. Oh, Yahuwah, you're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. Come on, He's worthy. Worthy. You're worthy. He's worthy. He's worthy. Worthy all your life, worthy all my life, worthy, 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 worthy. He's worthy. Yes, he is. He's worthy. And we do praise him. We do esteem him for all that he's doing, all that he's done, and all that he's yet going to do in the lives of us, his people. I pray your young has been going. And as we continue to move on, that it will increase. And so at this time, we're going to do the Baruch of the Torah. And then from the Baruch of the Torah, we're going to hear from Matthias the 10 Commandments. And then we're going to go into our Baruch Yahuwah. The Baruch what? Baruch is Yahuwah.
Baruch is Yahuwah.
The Baruch what? The Baruch for all eternity. Baruch atah, Yahuwah, our supreme one, King of the universe, who selected us from all the peoples, and gave us his Torah, Baruch atah, Yahuwah, give up the Torah, and it is so. Baruch atah, Yahuwah our truth, and it plants eternal life within us. Baruch atah. Now we will have the reading of the 10 Commandments done by Matthias, and it is so.
Faith, you should have no other power before me. You shall not make you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in your mind above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the mind beneath the earth. Do not bow down yourself unto them, no serve, for how you hold your power and materialist power. Visiting the iniquity of the hours of the children unto the 44th generation of them that hate, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that are high. Dalit, guard the Sabbath day to set it apart, as you will your power is commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of you will your power. In it you shall not do any work. You, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your ox, nor your sheep. And that you will your power brought you out there through a mighty hand and by a stretched arm. Therefore you will your power command to the land which you will your talks about your neighbor. You, neither shall you desire your neighbor's Isha, neither shall you covet your neighbor's bed, his field, or his manservant, or his maid, or your assembly in the mount, out of the midst of the fire, of the ground, and of the thick darkness of the ground. And he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tables of stone in the
But you will your power commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land where you're going to enter and possess it, that you might fear you with your power to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, you and your son and your grandson, all the young men of your life, and that your young men may live long. Hear therefore, O Yahshua, and observe honey. Shema Yahshua. Hear, O Yahshua, Yahuwah our supreme one is a God. And we shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall bind them for Torah access to your mind, your processing center. Verse 9, and you shall write them upon the posts of your bed and on your gates. And it shall be when Yahuwah your power shall have brought you into land which he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Yaakov, all great things when you feel not. And then beware, lest you free. You shall fear your power and serve him, and shall swear by his name. You should not go after other power, the power of the people which are round about you. For Yahuwah, your power is a jealous power among you. That's the end of Yahuwah, your power. Do not tempt Yahuwah, your power, as you tempted him in Massah. You shall diligently keep the commandments of Yahuwah, your power, and his testimonies and his statutes, which he has commanded you. And you shall do that which is right in the sight of Yahuwah, that it may be well with you, and that you may go in and possess the great land which Yahuwah swore to your fathers. And it is so. And it is so. And it is so. All right, let us turn. And it is so. It is so. All right. The first verse 8 for us to be real. And it is so. And it is so. Verse 6 says, be strong and of a great courage, for to this people shall you divide for an inheritance in the land, which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous. Verse 8. As I've tended to fit our time of confession, let us repeat this together. I will not let this scroll of the Torah. I will not let this scroll of the Torah depart out of my mouth. Depart out of my mouth. But I shall meditate therein. But I shall meditate therein. Yom and Layla. Yom and Layla. That I may observe to do. That I may observe to do. According to all that is written in it. According to all that is written in it. For then I shall make my way prosperous. For then I shall make my way prosperous. And then I shall act wisely. And then I shall act wisely. And you shall act wisely. Take your hand and place it over your heart and say, I'm Yahuwah. I shall act wise. I am determined. I am determined to act wise. To act wise. Come on, I am determined. I am determined to act wisely. To act wise. And it is so. It is so. And it is so. It's very important that we act wisely. We have our soul. And then we're going to prepare to go into part 2. And it is so. And it is so. Excuse me. Repeat with me. I purpose Torah. I am Ibra. I am Ibra. I am born again. I am born again. The Torah of Yasharal. I purpose to walk in the Torah of life. In the Torah of life. Yahuwah's Torah. Yahuwah's Torah. Yahush. Yahush. Is in me. Is in me. Yahuwah's knowledge. Yahuwah's knowledge is in me. Is in me. Yahuwah's Aha. Yahuwah's Aha is in me. Is in me. Yahuwah's power. Yahuwah's power is in me. Is in me. Yahuwah's wisdom. Yahuwah's wisdom. Yahuwah's wisdom is in me. Is in me. He is teaching me. He is teaching. He is leading me. He is leading. I am a child of Yahuwah. I am a child of Yahuwah. Of Yahuwah image. Now we have our declaration. Of Yahuwah in the name of Yahuwah. Torah. And through this knowledge. And through this knowledge. And salvation. And salvation. We decree Torah truth. Torah truth. Yeah. We unite not to fight each other, but the enemy of us. everything that has breath. That has breath. That has breath. Let everything that has everything that has praise that has let everything that has praise let everything let everything that has bow before our King and recite this portion of the writings. And it is so. Repeat with me. May the utterance of my mouth and the redeemed before you. Oh Yahuwah, my rock and my redeemer. And so you may be seated in his presence. As we come, can't hardly see that in the back. I wanted to use that kind of hard to see in the Abba. And it is so. We do appreciate the Abba for all that he's doing, all that he's done, and all that he's yet going to do. I know it might be a little hard to see it. Yeah, it might be a little difficult. So I'm gonna read it, and you want to bring it closer for me? That's fine. He's gonna bring it close, and I want to share with you on tonight, or to Layla. I have a few things I want to talk about. My topic is still along the lines of community. But this is one of the things that I really want to share and show us some things that was revealed to me on yesterday when we were at home on the land, making repairs, cleaning up, and let me see. What I'm looking for. Repurposing some things, just kind of getting some things fixed, and I have been sharing how we had been away from the land for 4 months because our vehicle had gone down. In the process of us being away for 4 months, someone came on our land, stole a lot of our stuff, a lot of our things that we had put on there. Solar panels, heavy equipment, and then what they didn't steal, they destroyed. They destroyed our tent, the main tent that we had. Then they destroyed my son and daughter's tent, their storage tent, and so forth. So they really was very malicious, but it just taught us a lesson. It taught me a lesson. Safety comes before production. We were really geared on producing instead of protecting. And that's one of the things that's important that we always remember: protection, then produce. Because if you try to produce and do certain things before protection is in place, then you will really see how people can be really malicious and really dirty. But not to harp on that long. And so the thing of it is that I want to convey is, even in spite of that, we're still on the mends and we're still able to do what we need to do, because the Abba has baruched us to replace some of the stuff that was lost. But the key thing that I really want to talk about, yesterday as I was we were at home and we were cleaning and burning and really just going through cleaning up some stuff, and I was just meditating on the different things that was taking place, and just thanking the Abba for the property that he has given unto us on the border of North and South Carolina, to where excuse me, we can begin to do some things and truly begin to get back to nature and get back to our way of life. And so with that being said, I began to think about the word or the phrase tomorrow. And as I was in the restroom, just standing up, and I was just kind of looking at all the work that we have done on the land, and just kind of meditating on some things, and the word tomorrow came up in my ruach. And so I began to look at tomorrow, and I began to even question, when does tomorrow get here? You know, is tomorrow such a thing? Where did it come from? It's a little, the white backboard might give off off a glare. So I'm going to read it. 6 young men, you work. 7 Sabbath rest. Not just any kind of rest, but a what? Sabbath rest. Okay. And then we're looking at the word tomorrow. The relevance of this word in our lives. Does it have relevance? Or was it a word that have invested yourself in, you truly walking in truth? Then you have nothing to fear. If you are truly living according to the standard and to the code, you have given yourself back to the Abba. So it's important that we understand. But this is on the lines of community. Why? Because it is important that we understand the time we're living in is going to either do one or two things. Either it's going to push us toward what we need to do, or it's going to push us away and push us out. I said it last week, the push is on. Work smarter, not harder. This is something that the Abba has placed within my heart, within my ruach. Why? Because it is things here where we myself, but it is important that we begin to and what we're on the brink of. Many have said you must fear. And so the Abba would never have us ignorant and have us ignorant or outside our hands to the work. It's important that we understand building. And when I say building, I'm talking about community. Not like what we've been taught like before. I said it even on last week. I'm not talking about social media or the social platforms that we find on Facebook or Instagram, and that is to be disrespectful to nobody, because I have a platform where I have people on it, the social platform. I am talking about community outside of the internet, a place of leverage for us as a people, a place to where you are getting to know one another on an intimate, one-on-one, face-to-face, true relationship. And so in order to be able to come or be a part of that system, it is important that you understand certain principles. I know we've been talking about the lunar Sabbath keepers, and we are going to get that. Why? It's pressing because it's taking place, and many of us are going to be left out, or we're going to try to get into a place tomorrow based upon 6 young men you work, and the 7th is a Sabbath rest. Now, somebody may say, but I don't understand where you're going. There was a pattern that was given unto us, the children of Yahshua. This pattern was broken. It was broken because of our disobedience. And throughout our times and the times of our ancestors and forefathers, we have been following a pattern that has not been our own. So we've been here, there, everywhere. We've been kind of all over the place. Do you follow me? All right. And so it's important. Hold on. All right. Now, and what I would like to convey to you, the importance of understanding community-based at this time or that time. The point of it is getting a baby. Okay, that's important. All right. Once again, I'm gonna say it again. The word tomorrow would remain broken, so that we will continue to be off. Now, once again, we have many times I have found that we stop and say, I'll finish it when.
Tomorrow.
Say it loud.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. But guess what? Does tomorrow ever get here? That Yom, you say the same thing. I will finish it tomorrow. Now, I want to share. It is important that we understand that that is when there is another code that has been, or even just a letter or a number, that it will destroy it. Mm-hmm. Are you following me? Placed in our lives to break the pattern. Because there's a pattern that we were given to follow. Now, let's look at this. I want to read this. The work pattern. 6 Yomim, and the 7th is a Sabbath rest. Once again, not just any rest, but a Sabbath rest. I want to show you something. Let's see. Bear with me. Because I want to pattern of how we think and how we work. Read this to you real quick. Pattern that helps us to remain successful. When that pattern is broken and we don't follow that pattern, then now we are no longer candidates to be successful. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
Yes. All right. All right. Yeah. He was up earlier. Yeah. All right. What's fine? Oh, it's backwards. Huh. Yeah. Oh, when you see. All right, I'm gonna read it again. It's backwards, but I want you to know it's 6 Yomim. Thank you. All right, you're gonna type it out for me, and that way you will have it. And I want to once again show some things. All right, once again, you have to remember when Abba Yahuwah created everything, we see where he began the count. Yom 1, Yom 2, Yom 3, Yom 4, Yom 5, Yom 6, and the 7th was the one that had significance. The 7th Yom is a Yom of what? Significance. Now I want to show you how throughout the ages that those that wanted to throw us off and continue to throw us off and break the pattern. Look at each Yom as a Yom of significance. And I want to show you once again, we're going to look at this word tomorrow, but I want us to look at this as I build a platform for it. All right. Now he's put it up there for those of you. We're going to look at it. The pagans have worshipped the sun. Okay. That's Yom 1. Now we're going to look at Yom 2 very quickly. It gave it so much significance that they gave them names. Yom 2, the day of the moon. To the Romans, Lune dies. The old English term was Monan Deag, as translated from Latin, were from Mona, the 29.5 day orbital cycle. All right. Now we're going to look at, I know I'm kind of going a little fast. I'm not trying to go too fast. We have Tuesday, day of Ty, Teutonic, Druid, Celtic idol. Okay. Now we go to Yom 4. Well done. As expected, by now it's another pagan idol's name. An elder in Iceland couldn't stand it anymore and changed the days back to the numbers for that island several hundred years ago by saying it's Wednesday or Wood Odin. Now it's what Wednesday considered highly skilled in magic. This Celtic deity was to the tectonic. All right. Now we go from fourth day to fifth Yom, which will be called Thursday. The Celtic Thursday, the deity of thunder and the son of Woden and Freya, the same as Tyrannus. Thor was associated with thunder. Now we come to Yamim 6, the 6th Yamim, which is Frigga's Day. Old English, Frigidae. This was Friday or Friggaday. Frigga was the wife of Woden. The fertility concept associated with this yom is very ancient. Okay. Now, once again, I'm just showing you how they place significance on one of these yom, on each one. Now we come to the yom of 7th Yamim, the 7th day, the day of rest. This was the Greco-Roman day of Saturn. Saturn was the Roman deity of agriculture, Saturnus, as was the big part Saturnalia, pagan Yamim, or pagan days. Now, someone will say, but what does that have to do with talking about tomorrow? Now, once again, we're gonna look at this. We have a work pattern that the Abba gave, and what I mean by the manifestation of Yahush in the work. All right, I'm trying to get my list. Is the Sabbath of rest, 6 units that was placed upon each one of these Yamim, or each one of these days. When the Abba said 6 days or 6 Yamim you work, but the Sabbath is a time of rest. If you notice, he never made reference to tomorrow. To tomorrow. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not because there was a pattern already set for us. He named them in Saturday through Sunday, which altered or changed the work pattern. This changed the work pattern. So now, if you start changing work patterns, guess what happens? Now you do tomorrow. Now, where does the when did the adverb? And in the 14th century, on can be used as a noun or as an adverb. It was used in the 13th century. That's when it first was used. I want us to turn our attention to chapter 11, verse 9. Yehukanan. Okay. No, this is 3D. And we're going to look at some other ones, but I want to look at to deal with these type of things because they feel like, oh, we already have it on wraps. Well, I'm here to tell you a lot of things that, and I don't mean celebrate credence to, or we give relevance to. Sometimes we do it out of habit, but we really don't really dive in to find out why do we give that. I have 6 days to work, and the 7th is a rest. Then I should not be thinking about you have enough need to get done for that one yom. Because remember, he's already given us 6. I wanted to rise. I wanted to bake and then rise. All right, let's listen to what Yahuwah said at chapter verse 9 of Yehukanan. Yahush answered, are there not 12 hours in the yom? If any man walks in the yom, he does not stumble because he sees the light of this world. Are you hearing me? We're going to deal with a work in a yom. That's enough of time to get everything you've done that has been set for that yom. Now the problem comes in. Now, instead of us many times accomplishing on that first yom what we need the third day, the fourth day, the fifth, because watch this, we rested upon tomorrow. Now, let me show you how this works. From 6 a.m. to 6 not early, it is just because we have been basically spoiled. Had to get up early before the sun came up to ensure that the animals would and then the rest of the year finish that 6 in the evening. Is about what I'm about to say. We have lights and we have things that are out there like light from the young. And what I want to convey is this: is that we have been tricked to believe that we can do all these things as long as we to break the work pattern. If you break rest, our people didn't go about saying tomorrow we will finish. They under a pleasure time on more secular things. And the reason I'm bringing this is from the damage that it has. And truly an altering of how we do things. To get 12 hours worth of great work was put in, it broke the pattern. Focused on every day. Well, let me tell you something. Tomorrow never gets here. Has ever stood tomorrow? No one has ever stood in tomorrow. So tomorrow is a continuation of what is, like I told you, that code. The focus was you have 6 young men. It's a pattern that shows us if we want to be successful, we've got to rise early and be diligent in those things. Are y'all following me? Yes. It is of the utmost importance. All right. We can't keep putting it off. All right, let's look at chapter 24. I'm going to look at verses 30 and 34 of Proverbs. Once again, the adverse effect when we continue the work pattern that the Abba has given unto us. Many of us had to deal with that notorious word tomorrow, and yet to another day, or that yom that the Abba has given us. The thing of it is of what comes up during 34. Now listen at 30. I passed by the field of the lazy and by the vineyard of the man lacking heart or understanding. When we have no understanding, we will continue to do the things that we once were doing or once done. Now, once again, he tells us, and see, it was all overgrown with thorns. Its surface was covered with nettles, and its stone was all, and its stone wall was broken down. Now you have to understand, this comes with time, and because of not doing things, what? During the early parts of the young, or bring forth early, and then the animals have to be taken out. Once again, watch the pattern of animals. In the morning, early in the morning, they're out ready to eat, and then when the sun starts going, because they know it's time to do what? Go to pull We want to do this, but then we are still enticed by this, and we're still in love with doing this, and not realizing you got to choose with us. We are tempted on every hand. I want to accomplish. I am to get accomplished what I set forth to do, and that is what is important. And that's what I want to convey to each one of you that are listening. Because if we don't go back to that work pattern, we will constantly find ourselves compassing that same mountain over and over again.
Right.
And especially if you're talking about, and see, then, we've gotten accustomed to going to work at night. Truthfully, when you ask the question, is midnight working? We're working. Pray that I am helping someone, like I say, because I've helped myself, and especially building a community. Yehukin in chapter 11, verses 9, Yahu's world. Now let's keep that in reference to what he's talking about. He's talking about work ethics. And if we as a people are going to truly be a people that are able to restore what we had, or to build and be productive in what we have, and do it in a timely manner, not mountains. If you're higher up, your elevation is a little higher, then your time of light will probably be a little different, because I know when we are on the border of South and North Carolina, sometime around about 4 going into 5, we can see the sun waving goodbye to us, and we be rushing trying to hurry and get everything done within that time. But I realize in order to maximize that time, we've got to get up in the right time in order to maximize our time to get those things done. And what does that say? That says reconstructing our lives to fit the pattern our Yahuwah gave us, and not the pattern that the world has always offered to us and continues to offer to us as a people. Once again, earlier, is that working smarter instead of 6? You might a lot of between him, mostly him, and the battle is not as intense, or those roots we will continually be hitting and missing. That's one of my mom's favorite terms. You're constantly hitting and missing. Well, at some point we ought to stop striking out. We ought to be able to see when that fastball is being the time. It is not for us to see stuff. This is important. It's very important for us. Very important. I want to read one more, and then we're going to close for sure this time. Let's look at Nehemiah. Nehemiah chapter 4, verses 21. Well, I want to read this because I want to show you that all of us have a part if we're going to truly be a part of the restoring of our way of life and the way that we do things. Are y'all hearing me? He's already given us how to really build community. All we have to do is look in the writings. In Shema chapter 16 and chapter I think it is 9. No, chapter 2.
And it's the day until the stars appeared.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and read 22 and 23.
At that time, I also said, so neither I.
And it is so. Worked until stand what time we're in. Now, once again, as I see and feel great, and we began to see greater things happen in our lives as the children of Yahshua, the Abba is